You ready to look at a sketchbook, huh? Yeah. Hello and welcome to my sketchbook tour. This is the first video of its kind. I've never done anything like this on my channel before and I'm super excited to get into it. I finally completed a full sketchbook that I like and I think I can show you guys. So the sketchbook is a moleskin sketchbook that I think I got off Amazon or Dick Blick, but it's just a green color and it's got I think 80 pages in it. But I really like this page. I got a bunch of Crayon Dash crayons for this sketchbook, and so the first pages of my sketchbook are always super maximum effort, and that's what you can see here. I really filled out the whole page, used color, made all these cute little designs. I really like the mountain lion vase I did there, and you can see the next page we're already falling off. I got a huge blank space, but I think I played a lot with blank space in the sketchbook, and I like that. This is when I was doing abstracts. And then I have another abstract at the bottom left corner that you can see. I really like how that one turned out. And then on the right is a example of a mural job, a sketch that I was doing. I ended up submitting it. It was in Iowa, I think, and I'll show you here what the finished product looked like. I didn't end up getting the job, but it was a great practice for me. And here's that color of the mural job again. And I was just practicing some of the swirls, trying to figure out what shape to do. And that's what all the swirly squiggles are. And here are some sketches that I did that I never made pieces for, and I really want to. I think when I move to Kansas and I have my own studio again, I'm going to do that. The one on the left has a lot of Guatemalan animals like jaguars, tapirs, and then I have a wolf at the top. And then the one on the bottom has coyotes and things and would be like more green and meadowy. So I really want to get into that more. And then here, I like to make a lot of lists. And typically my sketchbooks have a lot more writing than I feel like most people's do, which is fine. I made it a little bit more fun by using my crayons again. I think, yeah, I have my dreams on here, and then I have some national parks that I wanted to illustrate for, because I think I went through a period of wanting to create national park art and go to this conference that I didn't end up going to because I realized it wasn't really worth my time. But I have 3 sketches that I never did anything for here, and I thought I played around with this idea of doing these like paint chip paintings that I never did anything about. Same with this page, a bunch of sketches for like motion paintings, kind of like a painting that I did at college that I didn't end up doing anything with. And I think these are also a bunch of notes and things and ideas that I put down that haven't turned into anything yet. And in this page, finally, I have a few sketches that I did turn into some pieces that I did in New York. So I've got a Gila monster painting and a buffalo painting, which I'll show you here. And then this sketch of the buffalo I ended up doing later just to fill in a blank space I had. This page I am most excited for in my sketchbook. I am going to take all these paintings. I'm definitely going to do these in Kansas when I have my art studio again. I want to do these Jenny Saville, like very abstract inspired animal paintings. And I think that could be really cool if I find some galleries in Colorado or somewhere out west that I could show them. Yeah, I'm super excited for that Katmai painting I just pointed out. And then I want to do a really big Yellowstone kind of full ecosystem painting where I show all the different animals in there. This page is kind of fun. I ended up taking these 2 sketches on the left and turning them into this painting, which I'll show you here. It's very Ivan Earle and Eric Acko inspired. I wanted to do like a tree kind of over this painting or this picture I took in the Tetons. That means a lot to me. This page is the worst page in the sketchbook. I hate it. It's just some notes, and then I think I was bored and I was wanting to design our house, and I was dreaming about having my own apartment again. This is when I was living in somebody else's house, which is great. I'm happy for that, but there's something about having your own space. And then here is all my sketches I did for my stickers and my national park art, and I ended up creating a lot of digital art from these on Procreate, which you can see to the left here. And then this is when I think the sketchbook took a turn. I started really just sketching in here and not really focusing on making ideas. And so the piece on the right was a bunch of animal sketches for a sticker idea that I ended up creating. And then this is a spread I did in Whiskeytown when I was there June 5th with Daniel. And the sticker, or the picture I just pointed out, became a sticker in my shop, which I'll show you. I love this one. It's a Grand Canyon inspired piece, and I ended up creating a sticker and a print out of this, which I'll show you. I really like this green pen I used a lot in the sketchbook. It's a Pentel brush pen, and I'm definitely going to be buying a lot more of them. I just got a pack in the mail, so I can't wait to use that in my next sketchbook. Here's a redwoods inspired spread that I did. The thing on the bottom is I ended up turning that into a real print, and then I made a sticker out of both the snail and then the Bigfoot, which I love the Bigfoot sketch in this. I put it into Procreate and made it pink, and I think it's just one of my favorite things I created in the past year. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the sketchbook's from like 2023 and Christmas to like 2025. Yeah, here's a page that I created that was going to be another Great Smoky Mountain spread, and I just ended up not liking all the florals that I did, but that woodpecker in the middle is like my favorite thing I did. But the rest of it's, I don't really care about it. I love the Joshua Tree spread. It turned out so great. I ended up making a sticker out of the little picture on the top right, and I love the pupfish in there and the rocks, and I made another piece with the bighorn sheep on the bottom, which I'll show you here. I just really love this era of my sketchbook. It makes me super happy. Not a lot of color, but a lot of fun sketching, and I think my style and my own hand really started to come through. Later in the sketchbook, the Lamar Valley little landscape, I ended up illustrating with watercolors, and I love how that turned out. But this is my favorite one of the national parks I did. This one and the glacier one I did further down. I really love how the white bark pine turned out. It's so pretty, and I've got a fly in there. Yeah, here is a sketch that I did from a day that I went fly fishing with Daniel in Lassen National Park. And so I decided to just make a little spread of all my summer memories of when we went to Lassen, because we did a lot last summer in Lassen. Yeah, so I love looking back on this page. And in this section, I got a bunch of new pens from Michael, so I wanted to try them out. And this part of the sketchbook starts getting a little bit more colorful as I use my markers. And I did a little sketch at Donner Lake down at the bottom there that I really like. This was July 8th, 2024. And then the sketches on the left ended up becoming a painting that I'll show you here. And I really like how it turned out. I did it on stage, and it was very like cowboy inspired. And I ended up selling it too, which I'm really happy about. And then on the right is I ended up taking that sketch that you saw in the last couple of spreads and turning it into like a postcard. And then here I used my markers again to do a little, I guess, spread. I really like how it turned out. The bear is super cute. I was about to go to Banff, so I was excited for that. And then here is a sketch I did in person at Cheffin Lake with some markers. And then you can see at the top is like my itinerary that I drew out. And then all the way at the bottom is like months later when I was in Guatemala and thinking of ideas that I could paint, because I was finally like in a space, in a home that I could paint again. And continued on the left side is a bunch more of those sketches. I did a few of them, but I'm really bummed I didn't do more. And then on the right is some sketches that I ended up doing in California, and I'll show you it right here. I really love how this turned out, and I think this is like a new series of art of mine that I'm going to be doing a lot more of. Yeah, I really like the fish. It was inspired by this gallery I saw in Canada where they had all these artists that were doing like fish inspired art that wasn't really like realistic. It was more about the pattern. I think their names here. I think it's Ryan Bavin and Les Thomas. This page kind of ruins the aesthetic. I did it for a class, so I just needed some paper, and I was really focused on teaching, so I didn't really care what it looked like. Here's a spread I did in Antigua in September, I believe. Yeah, so there's like a huge gap of time there. I love the ant, how that turned out, and the bear sploot, and the way that I filled in the space with that swirl. I really like that page. And this one is really fun too. Just full spread of a jaguar. And I like how I use the negative space in this one, and I really want to do that more. It just feels like less of a sketchbook and more like a real drawing, but I really like that. And it makes for a fun video, so. I love this spread. At the top is a little sketch for a jaguar painting, like a color sketch that I ended up turning into this painting here. And then I love the gecko. I love the colors. I just used my markers in this and used some water, I believe. And I love the color story that I created and the little guys that I made. And here again, I'm using my crayons that I got. I really like how this turned out. You could tell I'm missing fall and the seasons because this was September and it was still super hot in Guatemala. But yeah, I love that window. Love the cat. I was missing Thespis, my mom's cat. This page is a lot of sketches I did. I really want to turn the one at the top left into a painting with some glitter and some hoodoos and make it very like New Mexico inspired. And then there's just a study I did of a famous person's painting at the bottom of the last page. Here's some notes for a mural I did. I did that fun little Utah crayon drawing. And then on the right is some sketches that I did for a series of painting kind of inspired by those fish in January, and I made a video about it. I'll put those here. And same with this page. I really wanted to do a bunch of color studies for the paintings I ended up doing. The elk ended up being one of my favorites of that painting series, and I think there's another one which I'll show you here that is one of my favorites. But yeah, love the moon on this page too. This spread is another like why did I make a chicken? I don't even make domestic animals, but I like the Banff painting, and I like the little frog at the bottom that I didn't color in. And then this page is when I realized that I was getting close to finishing, and it was in March of this year. And I was like, oh my God, I could make a sketchbook video if I finish this. And so I just started really cranking them out and doing just like single color. I love the bird in that one. I love the horse in this one and the little rope. And then there's a painting idea at the top that I really want to do for my new house of like a picture of Lassen and then a smaller painting underneath with like a guy in a kayak. And I think it'd be really cool. I saw these like paper mache flowers and I'd love to do a moth, and that's what that moth was inspired by. Here's another spread that I really like the color story, but like the actual drawings are like, they're kind of wonky, not super great. They don't like call to me. Like I don't really like the elk, but I like the mountain lion and the colors, so. And here's another one of those national park ones that I absolutely love. That fish, I could get tattooed on me. It's perfect. And then there's some little memories of the time we went to Glacier, like the going to the Sun Road and then the Granite Park Chalet on the left there. Yeah, I really like this green pen. It really brought out, I think, it made me have to make decisions, and that really brought out my style and my specific voice. So I like that a lot. Here's just a really random page. That bear is one of my favorite things in the sketchbook. Super fast, not expecting anything, and it turned out so cool. I like the watercolor effect. And then I was taking a ceramics class at the time, so I wanted to like figure out if I were to paint it, what it would look like. But then I didn't even end up getting to be able to paint them, which kind of sucked. And then I needed to fill the page. So that's what the Lassen watercolor is at the bottom, and I love how that turned out too. It's just unfortunate that the surroundings aren't as pretty, but I really like it. Also, the Hamilton's really cute in there. Here's another spread where I used one color. I like this everywhere else, but for some reason this one really doesn't do it for me. I think maybe it's the letters, but I like that sun flare and I like the hummingbird looking thing. The rest is kind of okay. There were a lot of birds in Kansas though that I got to draw, which was fun. And this page is absolutely atrocious. I had some paint, like acrylic paint, and I was at a friend's house and I was keeping her company, and I think I was more focused on talking than actually painting. I like the swirl, I like the dog, but it just doesn't fit in the sketchbook. And then I think I wanted to redeem myself, so I went really hard on this next page and did some postcards, little watercolor sketches of my time in California from last year. So this is like a year later in June that you've seen in the sketchbook. And I love all the pieces. I have a bunch of Lassen on the top, and then there's one from Wrights Lake that I'm pointing out now, which is my favorite spot in California. Just like a family place that we went every summer, which is, I don't know, I love going there. It's my favorite. And then I started doing some theme spreads because I was on vacation at Rio Dulce here in Guatemala. And so I took some pieces from the house that I was staying in, like this marlin. And that's a picture of Daniel and Ellie on the boat. And then there's a little still life because I never do still lifes and I thought I would try it out. And I like how this turned out. And I think I want to do travel sketchbooks more. It just really inspired me to fill up pages and make them look cool. And this is June 3rd. We were also at the river. I saw a toucan the day before, and then we went to that waterfall, which is like a hot spring. And I love the frame around it that makes it look super tropical. And then I got a view from the boat. And then I went jet skiing that morning, and Philip, my husband's brother, saw a snake in the water and didn't tell me. So I thought I'd include that milk snake in my sketchbook. I don't like the filler stuff I added, but that's okay. This page I love. I ended up sketching in two colors. I love the birds. They're amazing. I need to do more movement stuff. But these are just some animals that we saw in Rio Dulce and the house next to us. Yeah, it was really cool. I saw monkeys in the wild for the first time. Love this page. It's Ellie on the bed, and I was sick that day. I was about to finish it, and I was like, might as well just leave the right side empty and do some more like negative space stuff. That's my favorite one though. This one's all right. I love the lizards hugging, my favorite part. June 10th, I got a little color swatches in there. I like the crocodile, but I don't know. As far as this page goes, it's all right. And I love this page. I thought I'd fill the very last page of my sketchbook with animals that I'm going to end up painting next year to get myself inspired and remind myself kind of what my subjects are. And so I did a bunch of moose and fish and bears. And I think I want to do more sketchbooks like this, just like absolute maximalism, which is more my style. And I love the colors I ended up using. And yeah, that's the end of the sketchbook. Hope you enjoyed it. And there's a little pocket in the back here with some goodies inside. And then here's a bunch of reference photos that I haven't painted yet. This one's for the Katmai painting that I'm excited to do. So I've made the reference photo, I just haven't painted it yet, but I am looking forward to painting it soon. And I think this last one's also reference photos, and I did end up painting one of them. The mountain goat one, I'll show you here. And then I really want to do this wolf painting at the bottom. It's reminiscent of another painting I did in the past. But yeah, that's my sketchbook. I hope you enjoyed it. Got some fun stickers on there from Lee and one that I got from Grand Tetons, and of course, Keep Tahoe Blue. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.